Good day, this is the Hawk. I come to you today disappointed that in a supposed free and fair election, slowly but surely we're proving that the Dominion machines flipped the vote for Biden. While Kamala Harris, Obama, Michelle Obama, and all these liberal people jump up and down excited like they're going to get back in the White House. Need to remember, there's some serious people that are upset. Military people who do not want you traitors in there. People who fought for the freedom of this country. And if you think President Trump was stupid enough to allow this to happen, think again. Even the math don't calculate right. It's physically and logically impossible for what the results were. In most towns and states in the United States, except for the ultra-liberal strongholds who think that everything is free, the United States citizen is pissed off. Do you honestly think we're going to hand this over to a bunch of communist traitors, thieves like Biden? It's alleged that there's video now showing Biden's son molesting Chinese children. How much of that is true after they found his computer compromises Biden? Because the Chinese also have those videos. I find it ironic that Romney from Utah's son is involved with this Hunter Biden, and now Romney's flopping all over the place trying to get rid of Trump. Senator Romney, believe me, you ain't gonna ever be a senator in Utah ever again. I'll make sure of that. We're gonna get rid of your ass. We don't want traitors. You've never been a real Republican. And don't hide behind your Mormonism, because it doesn't work for us Mormons. You're just a traitor. Now to South Africa. Before we go back to the video, if you have raw video of what's going on in South Africa, send it to me. My email address is hawkshield10@gmail.com. Below in the description, you'll find the email address plus a link to sanctions, economic sanctions on the South African government to stop them doing these human rights violations. President Ramaphosa goes and does his news speech, pointless to watch because he's lying. He's just babbling on, telling you the story, but he's lying. He sold his soul to the World Health Organization and the Illuminati and everybody that wants to control us with this con virus, so-called coronavirus. I can guarantee you after the presidential elections, there will be no virus anymore. It'll be the biggest con you'll ever see disappear. Slowly the news won't talk about it. It'll all just go away. Is there coronavirus? Yeah, it's a very bad strain of the flu. And guess what? They just took your freedom away. Your freedom. They force you to wear masks. Now Biden's coming up with this. Force the mask on people. You just lost your freedom. This flag behind me represents freedom. In South Africa, the ANC government has lost control. The government is not in charge. Eli Wiesel, many years ago, was given a humanitarian prize by President Clinton. He turned to President Clinton and he said, "Why are you giving me this prize when you're not dealing with the issues in Bosnia?" 2 years later, there was the massacre in Srebrenica in Bosnia. And suddenly the Americans came to help. 2 years later, the Democrats, in a bipartisan law, they passed it, was the Eli Wiesel law, to prevent genocide, to prevent civil war, to prevent what is actually going on. A couple weeks ago, Secretary of State Pompeo in Africa, I think Ethiopia, stated to this group of international leaders that South Africa was making the biggest economic suicidal decision in their history of land reform. Yet in the past week, they've gazetted this in the government. It is like watching children or deliberate criminals who care less about its people. I have watched for the last 3 years how you implode. You have leaders from all sides fighting each other, calling each other's names, idiots. You got other drunk idiots running to the police station suing everybody, or going to the president's office and getting his ass beat. You don't go there and slap your hand on the table and demand to see the president and expect them to be very nice to you when you're arrogant and stupid. Or you have traitors that come from the past and tell you they're going to be the leader of your country. Or you got the Buramach or the some other Mach or some old general with a pot belly, or these different groups telling each other that they're going to save you. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're drunk. I don't care who you are. But if you don't unite into one group, one organization, you will never beat the ANC. Never beat the ANC. And you will never beat the EFF. You two splintered. You all hate each other. I get criticized all the time. I don't care. We have one mission. You need a serious leader who has vision, who is not scared to say what he has to say, who works silently in the background to collect all the information you need. There are black people in South Africa who don't like what's going on either. Unite. Unite the blacks, unite the whites, unite the Indians and the coloreds under one group and move forward. After much research into this corporation that South Africa was sold to the banks, I am still trying to sift through that mess. But I can tell you this from what I've seen. Anglo-American, the Oppenheimers, Absa Bank, Barclays Bank, and many others are involved. They were the ones that loaned the money to the ANC back in the beginning in the 90s. They sold South Africa. So you own nothing. You own nothing. When Anton Rupert made a phone call when there was an attack in Plettenberg Bay, I believe it was Plettenberg Bay, or one of those areas in the Cape where they were going to go and burn down a bunch of houses there. He made one phone call and suddenly the police arrived and these people were put down. What does that tell you? These people own South Africa. They own the government. They own these people. There's only one way to fix this problem. Look around your cities. Look on your highways. Your farmers are getting killed every single day. There's not one farm in South Africa, black or white, Indian or colored, that is safe. You're isolated, you're not connected, and you have a problem. And the government absolutely doesn't care. And because you're isolated, they don't care. They know they can get away with it. Murders every day, rapes every day, and the burning of trucks coming in and out of South Africa. buildings getting burnt, and this idiot Julius Malema is still running around threatening now the police, threatening senators, threatening the president of South Africa. He even threatens schools, little kids, and they still let him run around because this is the African way. In South Africa, they think he's brave. He's a short, 5 foot nothing little idiot. What should happen is the police need to go there en masse, grab him, and take him away and let him disappear. Put him somewhere where nobody knows where he is and charge him with treason. And that goes for, to fix South Africa, it's very simple. The whole of the ANC cabinet, every ANC premier in any state, and the entire EFF need to be arrested. And I can count probably 100 people. They need to be arrested for treason. And anybody that has committed fraud, corruption, need to be arrested as well. All their assets seized and them all put in jail for the treason against the South African people. Think about this. Why are black people burning things down? Why are they frustrated? Why are they running around going absolutely crazy, hoping to gain something better? Because the government failed them. And what was the government's excuse? It's the white man's fault. Why would a white man want to go backwards? That's not in his nature. Why would anybody want to go backwards? So why blame a white man when you know it's your fault? On BBC News, they're showing how the hospitals in South Africa are at a standstill. The German government built a massive health center for COVID-19. It's empty. They can't man it. But the government refuses to hire white nurses and white doctors. They would rather hire substandard Cubans and other nationalities because of racism. Where's the logic in this? This is not a government that's willing to fix the things for the people. You got hundreds and hundreds of black people standing at the gates of the hospitals right next to each other during this COVID-19 epidemic, which is nothing but flu. But because the health system in South Africa is so bad, anybody with an infection in the hospital is going to die because they have feces, filthy blankets, waste, medical waste on the floors. No hospital beds. Where are the hospital beds? Who stole them? Where are the mattresses? Where's all the linen? It was all stolen because there's no control. Nobody cares. If an administrator gets in there, he gets threatened. So he don't care. He gets threatened to be killed. And because of the criminal element throughout the government, throughout the country, you can do what the hell you like. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, everybody was employed. There was minimal murder, minimal rape. Everybody had a job. The hospitals were all running. The economy was still good, even under sanctions, because it was run correctly, not corruptly. Who owns South Africa? Not the government of South Africa, not the people of South Africa. When they changed this government to these criminals, they sold you. Before we go back to the video, if you have raw video of what's going on in South Africa, send it to me. My email address is hawkshield10@gmail.com. Below in the description, you'll find the email address plus a link to sanctions, economic sanctions on the South African government to stop them doing these human rights violations. It takes $100 to take an ounce of gold out of the ground. How much does gold go for on the stock exchange? $1,200 to $1,400 an ounce. Do you see that money? No. All the minerals in South Africa have been sold either to the Chinese or to these conglomerates. So they allow what is happening in South Africa to continue. They control the SABC. They control everything. Listen, you cannot hire 100 people for one job and expect the money to come in when nobody's paying their TV license. You cannot expect the SAA to run when the Rand dollar exchange is so bad that it costs 40,000 Rand to fly to Europe. How many people have 40,000 Rand? And you have 10 people at the SAA for one job. So you're floating you're over employing people just to keep them in business. And then you wonder why it's not going to work. It's economic suicide. It always has been. There was a baker's company in Natal, been running since 1954. The union came in, walked up to the main driver, said, "We want you to join the union." He said, "No, we're happy here. We get paid good money. We get a pension. We got medical insurance. We don't need anything." A week later, they found him dead in that truck. 2 weeks later, the company turned union. Within 6 months, that company collapsed and all those people lost their jobs. Patco Bus, the Green Mamba. How many of those depots are still open? Because of the unions. They force more money, more money, more money, more money. How many people pay their taxes in South Africa? Hardly anybody. How many people go to get money for free from the government for being pregnant? More money than the government can make. It's economic suicide. And unless you see the logic of this, South Africa is doomed. Hold these politicians accountable. The ANC has to go. The EFF have to go. They're nobodies. Imagine them in power. They will destroy everything, take everything, never rebuild. If you do not build it, they will never come. And if you overdo it, you're just burning yourself in the foot. You can't take $10 and have to pay out 20 to the people that are working for you. You'll never make money. You'll never expand. You'll collapse. In the end, you will have no business. And then you blame the man. It's not the man. You kill the farmers in South Africa. You got no food. Then the Chinese feed you their plastic vegetables and their cheap junk. And now the South African government's loaning money from them by the billions that they cannot pay back. Tell me, who pays for gas, electricity in the townships? Nobody, because everybody's going up on the line and stealing it. Nobody wants to pay. You want it for free. But there's nothing for free. Somebody has to generate electricity. They have to buy coal to make electricity. Where does the money come from? It's not free. In the end, the whole South African country will collapse. The rest of Africa is laughing at you. You got now MK running around telling people they're going to kill everybody in Natal that's a foreigner. Why? What have you done for your country, MK? You've never fought a war. You've never fought a war. You've never faced a real soldier. None of you have. You've never been in a war. You call yourselves MK soldiers, but what have you done? What have you done for your country but put out your hand to take? Why don't you all get together and start helping clean up the military camps? If you're so good as trainers, why don't you train the young soldiers? You can't, because you know nothing. You've never been in war. Look around you, South Africa. Is the South African government in charge? Is the South African police in charge? If not, fly your flags upside down, half-mast. It's an international signal for distress, meaning that the government has lost control. This is the Hawk. Subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button. Hit the bell. And subscribe. Share this video. Share it with everybody in South Africa. I hope for one thing only. In 2021, President Trump will be my president, not this criminal Biden or this communist Harris. The ANC collapses and is removed and jailed. Julius Malema is put up for treason and put to sleep. I hate to say that, but that man is evil. So is Cyril Ramaphosa, to the core. He is not your president. He's an evil man, selfish, controlled, disgusting man. To all the leaders, so-called leaders in South Africa, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you like me or you don't like me. But unless you find a real leader, not some old traitor or some old drunk or some old general, somebody new, somebody who is wise, quiet, who's sensible, who sees vision, not division, and solutions like schools, hospitals, roads, economic survival. Get rid of these corporations that are controlling the government. Find out who really owns South Africa and put them on the spot. Go through the police department and find out all the criminals and all the corrupt and get rid of them. All the corrupt politicians, arrest them and seize their assets. Seal off your borders and remove all the illegals in South Africa. Remove all the drug dealers and push harsh laws for murder, rape, farm murders, and corruption. And you'll see a big change in South Africa. Within 6 months, country will change. Right now, nobody in his right mind will ever invest in South Africa. It's economic suicide. Why would you put billions of dollars into a country you know is going to collapse? It's pointless. It just proves that the politicians of South Africa are only corrupt. They're only worried about themselves and their money and not the people of South Africa. So is this your leader? Are these people looking after you or just their own pockets? There is a country called South Africa, and it's not a color. It's a multicolored country with so much character, so many people, different colors, who represent one people under one flag. And that's where you should be, not as races, because that's how they control you. This is the Hawk. I'm out of here.